I want to release a prophetic word for you today, really encouragement for you today, that what the enemy has meant for harm, God is going to turn around for good. Genesis 50 talks about when Joseph was talking to his brothers, and he said, what you guys intended for evil, God has turned it around for good and positioned me in this place for this time, this season. And I really believe that God is doing that right now. It says in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, where it talks about that God will work all things out for good for those who love the Lord, who are called according to his purposes. I'm telling you, God is working on your behalf right now. Some of you feel discouraged. Some of you feel like you are missing things. You feel like it's not turning out the way you intended that happened. And I'm going to tell you that God is working on your behalf, that God is the redeemer of all things. And what we need to do right now is to stop and get God's perspective of what's happening. That if we can lean into what has God said, what is God doing, and what is our battle plan in the midst of the waiting or in the challenging time. Because if we know that there's purpose behind the pain, we will continue to endure. Some of the biggest wins is that you're just willingness to do hard things, that you're willing to keep pressing on to the belief for the promise of God, to continue to contend in the midst of it. I just want to release an encouragement right now that whether you're in business, whether you're at home, whether you're running an organization, or whether you're leading a church, that right now that God is working on your behalf, that God is going to turn the things around. And I'm believing it's the end suddenly moments, the times. There's a scripture in Isaiah that says that God had proclaimed the word of the Lord, and then he goes, and then suddenly he did it. And I'm releasing the end suddenlies, and that you will see the redemption of God in the midst of the situations. In fact, I encourage you right now, say, God, I believe that word, that you are turning all things around right now, that you're shifting the momentum of what the enemy meant for harm. God, you're turning it around for good. What people try to throw at me, I'm turning it around to use it against the enemy. And that, God, you're going to position me into the positions that I need to be for such a time as this. And what I mean, I don't mean to be generic. I'm saying that God is putting you in relationships and connections and opportunities for this season that we're stepping into. So rejoice. And I say rejoice. I don't like to use just random words. I'm saying to rejoice. Celebrate the season you're in, because in the midst of Thanksgiving, God releases breakthrough for you. So I just want to encourage you. God is using this time. He's turning it around, and he's going to redeem it for what his purposes are for your life.